Welcome to Hannity. And tonight, Bozo O'Rourke is back and not doing very well. He seems very angry, used a lot of cuss words, and we'll play the tape coming up. But first, we do have serious news to begin our night and to cover.
Americans held hostage, abandoned behind enemy lines. Day 59.
Day 59. Americans are our allies, their families, green card holders, totally, completely, utterly abandoned by your President, Joe Biden, behind enemy lines, hostages to terrorists. Joe hasn't even mentioned these innocent men, women, and children in over 40 days. He's turned the page, as he says. And now the Biden administration, they are planning to send more money to, let's see, oh, that's right, the professional and business-like Taliban terrorists. They're calling it humanitarian aid. But in reality, where I grew up, that looks an awful lot like a massive ransom payment to terrorists. Now, tonight, it's clear everything Biden touches becomes an unmitigated disaster. I can't cite a single success. Afghanistan is a huge, massive crisis, unprecedented. I've never seen or thought I'd see this in my life. Look at the border, another catastrophe. COVID-19 is now worse under Biden, despite being gifted 3 vaccines, a vaccine distribution program, a wealth of knowledge about therapeutics, monoclonal antibodies among them. The economy is now a complete and utter train wreck. We have a lot of details we'll give you, especially for low and middle class and middle income Americans. We have inflation, shortages, unemployment. We will detail all the latest troubling statistics. It's chilling, actually. And perhaps of all, the worst of all, Joe gave in to the environmental extremists, and he abandoned the energy independence that Donald Trump handed him. And now all of us, all of you, are suffering because of it. Police, healthcare workers, first responders, teachers. Yeah, many are now being forced out of their jobs. They are leaving in the middle of an employment shortage, all because of Joe's vaccine mandates. I thought if we got the vaccine, we protected ourselves. Apparently, like with everything else COVID-related with Fauci and Biden, it changes daily. With multiple major crises spiraling out of control, Americans are turning on the Biden White House. 3 new polls show Joe Biden underwater by double digits. According to Gallup, Biden's support among independents, it is now cratered to just 37%. And now anti-Biden chants, they are breaking out in stadiums and sporting events, Talladega, at the Ryder Cup, football games nationwide. Take a look. And that is not the only anti-Biden chant that is now trending across the country. Let's go, Brandon. That's also a new favorite among Americans because of this special moment on NBC. You have a NASCAR driver winning a big race, Brandon Brown, after his big victory at Talladega. Well, the reporter actually thinks they're cheering Brandon, but when you listen closely, no, they're not. Take a look.
Just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me you can hear the chants from the crowd. Let's go, Brandon.
No, they weren't chanting, let's go, Brandon, at all. You, the American people, have every reason to be angry at Joe Biden. He is failing this country around every turn. Every American is paying the price. The world is paying the price. Inflation is now costing American families, households, $175 extra every month. In other words, that is a $2,100 annual tax on every single household in the country, regardless of income, compliments of Joe Biden's horrific economic policies. The cost of eggs, meat, poultry, fish, that's up nearly 20%. On top of meat and processed meat, guess what? A predictor that steak will now become a champagne-like luxury only available to the wealthy. And the CEO of Kraft, Heinz, they're warning that rising food prices are not going away. Meanwhile, look at this. The cost of cotton is up a whopping 47% to date. That is a 10-year high. Right now, we have a 30-year high in terms of inflation indicators. In other words, any clothing you buy has cotton in it or plan on buying is going to cost a lot more. The cost of raw materials also surging. The cost of motor vehicles, Car parts is surging. Almost every single thing you buy is now more expensive. At the core of all of this, massive inflation, rising energy costs, and gas prices, all caused by Joe Biden. In one of his first acts as president, Joe Biden artificially reduced America's oil and gas supply capabilities, and in the same time, he literally lowered the supply chain of the lifeblood of the world's economy, energy, in the stroke of one pen. He halted the Keystone Pipeline, and he gave Vladimir Putin, yes, a special waiver to build his pipeline. As a result, natural gas prices are up a whopping 112% since January. Biden is making Russia rich again. Oil prices are up 65%. $5 a gallon gasoline is now a reality in New York, California, and soon probably a gas station near you. Of course, diesel prices, they're also surging. Everything that you buy in every store gets there via truck. Those trucks, they use diesel. Now, these extra transportation costs, they're going to be passed on to you. Part of the Biden inflation tax, the consumer. Add to this another major problem, that's America's supply chain. That's in a state of chaos because of America's worker shortage. Cargo ships off the coast in California and New York, they're piling up, unable to unload their containers. And meanwhile, goods are now piling up in warehouses because of a lack of drivers. Now, nationwide shortages, that's become the norm. Walmart, Costco, they're now rationing toilet paper. Tires are becoming hard to find for your car or truck. Look at your screen. Grocery store shelves are going empty in some places. Those images from Tennessee. Economists are warning many Christmas presents for your kids, they're not going to be arriving in time for the holiday season. Even more troubling, a looming shortage of school bus drivers. One transportation expert is now predicting this driver shortage alone will remain severe all year long. And as you can see, the economy, another Biden preventable catastrophe. Yet Joe Biden and his fellow Democrats, they're just determined to make it worse and worse with trillions in new spending and new taxes that will be passed on to you. That is a move that will cause inflation to skyrocket even more. But as Jen Psaki explained earlier today, Democrats never let a crisis go to waste. Take a look.
The president wants to make fundamental change in our economy, and he feels coming out of the pandemic is exactly the time to do that. And if we don't do it now, if we don't address the cost of childcare, to go back to Josh's question earlier, if we don't address the climate crisis, if we don't ensure that universal pre-K is a reality now, we're not going to have the same opportunity to do it for some time.
We won't have the opportunity to do it for some time because hopefully you get voted out in the midterms. Anyway, sadly, the new Green Deal socialist spending programs, that's what we need to worry about, and we cannot afford the trillions of dollars they're going to borrow and spend. Governor Newsom out in California, he's now even banning gas-powered lawnmowers and chainsaws in California. I hope they don't do that to weed whackers. I love my weed whacker. And the Biden administration's new vaccine mandates are forcing thousands of teachers, police officers, first responders, healthcare workers, and yes, our military are opting out of their jobs in the middle of a pandemic, a nationwide worker shortage. On top of it, one positive development, a federal judge ruled in favor of healthcare workers seeking a religious exemption from the vaccine mandate. Over the weekend, Southwest Airlines, they were forced to cancel more than 1,000 flights because of a suspected sick-out protest against the company's new vaccine mandate. And that's not stopping the Biden administration or the great flip-flop. I've been wrong on pretty much everything. Dr. Fauci, you know, the guy that helped fund the Wuhan virology lab, from floating a truly insane mandate for all Americans that want to fly on a commercial airplane. Take a look.
Would you like a vaccine mandate for air travel in effect for the holidays?
Well, it depends on what you mean. If you're talking, you know, we do now have a situation when people coming in from outside of the country who are not United States citizens, they really must require that they get vaccinated as well as getting tested before. On the table is the issue of mandates for vaccine. It's always discussable. We always wind up discussing it.
Do you support it?
But right now, I don't see that immediately. You know, Dana, I don't want to say support or not. I think it's a decision that's made by input from a number of parts of the government, including public health.
All right, soon, if Joe Biden gets his way, millions of Americans will not be able to get a job or even travel. But don't worry, I'm sure that they will have no impact on our already struggling economy, right? And at the center of our current economic crisis, yep, there he is, the weak, frail, cognitively struggling mess, clueless Joe Biden, experiencing even more cognitive decline today. Another 3 p.m. early afternoon lid. He needed his nappy time. And Joel, while he's asleep at the wheel, his radical advisors, they just take over. Who they are, we don't know. And they want to fundamentally reshape this country, and they're saying so. They want to upend the greatest economic engine on the face of this earth, the greatest wealth-creating system on the face of the earth. They want open borders. They want amnesty. They want womb to the tomb, cradle-to-grave entitlements we cannot afford for every single person unable or unwilling to work. They want to turn the United States of America into their socialist, leftist, statist utopia. And they must be stopped at the ballot box before it's too late. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.